Please welcome Chief Technology Officer, Bryan Harris.
Hi, folks, and welcome to SAS Innovate. It is so great to be here with you all in the room and around the world. Next year, SAS will celebrate 50 years of innovation. 50 years. But let's put that impressive milestone into some context. That means we have written billions of lines of code. We have deployed millions of models, and yes, we have even created our own programming language. It also, though, means that we've seen many technology innovations over that time. First, it was the PC and the internet. Then it was the cloud, and machine learning, and deep learning. And today, it's all about AI. Generative AI, Agentic AI, and even quantum AI. The list goes on. Now, this rapid pace of innovation can feel intense and overwhelming. To be honest, it's even overwhelming to the companies that are building this stuff. But the reality is that every subset of AI is fueling one thing that can make all the difference for you and your business, and that's decision intelligence. But we understand that you're not just looking for any decision. You need a decision that delivers outcomes that outperform. You need a decision that helps you to compete and win in the market. You need a decision advantage. This week, we will show you how our entire portfolio uniquely gives you a decision advantage. Let's get started with an innovation that continues to dominate the headlines, generative AI. It feels like all you need to do is sprinkle a little generative AI into your enterprise, and all of your magical problems, all your problems will magically disappear. Can you feel it? In all seriousness, though, generative AI is an incredible technology breakthrough. It has made great impacts in customer service, text summarization, and search. But there are limitations to what it can do, and serious issues when it's not applied to the right use cases with the proper controls. So let me give you an example. Imagine that you, your spouse, your friend, or your adult child is trying to get a loan for a new house. You manage your finances very responsibly and have a credit score that should be really an obvious yes, which is why it's even more confusing when you are denied. And what you may not know is that the denial was made simply based on your demographic, because the model that made the decision was trained on the internet, a model that has made your dream of buying a new home much harder to achieve because of your race. Well, this is not a made-up scenario. This risk is very real. A recent study found that large language models recommend more denials and higher interest rates for black applicants than identical white applicants. And the numbers are staggering. On average, black applicants would need credit scores of 120 points higher than white applicants to receive the same approval rate, and 30 points higher to receive the same interest rate. This should be disturbing to everyone in the room. This discrepancy was found to be a systemic issue across all large language models that were tested, including OpenAI, Anthropic, and Meta. So the question is, how do you fix this? Well, one recommendation from a foundation AI model company was to add the following sentence to the prompt. It is really, 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 really important to me that this decision isn't biased. Well, I hope everyone feels better now. We can deploy that model everywhere. Well, actually, in reality, the study does show that this prompt can reduce some bias, but not repeatedly and not consistently. This is why large language models and prompt engineering alone are not sufficient for most enterprise use cases. The mortgage lending application example is a powerful reminder to all of us that you need a more robust approach that orchestrates large language models, model governance, machine learning, APIs, and much more. This is to ensure fairness, accuracy, and governance. This is why the implementation of the industry is shifting from generative AI to agentic AI. And the uptake is happening fast. Research shows that the global market for agentic AI will reach over $70 billion by 2030, with 52% of organizations adding agentic workflows to their business this year. So, how does SAS define agentic AI? We think of it as a spectrum between human out-of-the-loop and human in-the-loop scenarios. So let's start with human out-of-the-loop. This is AI acting on behalf of humans autonomously to make decisions. Second, human in the loop this is AI engaging humans when needed. Now, to put this into context, let's take a look at an example with fraud. So in the human out-of-loop scenario, the agent autonomously detects and denies fraudulent transactions. But it's not always that simple, and many times there are irregular transactions that need further review. This leads us to the human in-the-loop scenario. In this case, the agent analyzes the irregular transactions and expands the context with additional data sources, computes a composite risk score, and then compiles a summary for human review. Now, what I want to show you is how the Viya platform, and specifically how SAS Intelligent Decisioning, is already delivering on these agentic AI scenarios. SAS Intelligent Decisioning allows you to easily, through low-code, no-code, drag-and-drop interface, to build agentic AI workflows that solve your most complex business problems. Then from there, those agentic workflows can be published as intelligent agents directly in the enterprise for ease of integration throughout your entire ecosystem. Now, let's dive deeper into how this works to see how rich our capabilities are. What you're seeing here is a Viya dashboard that is tracking mortgage loan applications, which can be quite complicated because they can include non-traditional incomes, inconsistent payment histories, as well as partial documentation. We've actually analyzed with the AI agent 6,200 applications, of which 1,800 of them plus need to be reviewed by people. And so the big question is, what's going on here? We see that one of them is a VIP customer that was denied a loan, which does not make sense. So we're going to look into that. In here, you can see details about the loan for that customer, that application, but we want to ask the AI agent what happened. We can do that with a natural question and get a natural response. Now, what's different is the large language model we orchestrated, gives us a very succinct and clear response, but it didn't make the decision. We used another model for that to overcome the discrimination concerns. So we click on the model card here, and last year we mentioned at SAS Innovate, we released model cards, which are like nutritional labels for your models in AI. And this is a comprehensive suite of data that really documents the performance, the bias assessments, the overall model performance over time for this. We talk about model usage, how it's applied, how it shouldn't be used. You can think of this as really an important overview of the model and how it was created and how well it has been designed and performing. Now, when you get through this, you can see that this model has been used to make the decision for the loans, and it fully allows you to go defend that position. But we also want to see the logic of the application through the agentic workflow. This is where intelligent decisioning really stands on its own. We give you a sand key visual to show you how every single application has flowed through the agentic workflow. And when we zoom in here, you will see that there are 20-some steps to this entire agentic workflow, starting with the decision to deny or approve at the top, with additional guardrails to protect your information as we interact with large language models, and then even other additional logic at the end of this to make sure that you get fair, governed decisions. Now, when you're looking at this, you say, okay, well, how do I build these? Well, it's actually really, really easy. And we're going to go in here into what I would call the design mode here. When you flip over to the design mode, you can see this entire agentic workflow, and we're going to show you how easy it is just to add another node. In this case, we're taking the agentic AI workflow, and we're going to add a next best action option to this. So if you've got approved and you got all the financial checks met, we actually want to maybe say something else. And so in this, we dragged a new node into the palette, and that whole node, by the way, has its own agentic workflows. So this has been built by another team who's in maybe the marketing department, who is basically building out a full next best action offer that can be reused and built into composite AI Agentic AI workflows. Incredibly powerful stuff. Really, really impressive, the way we can allow you to do this. Now, when you're going through this process and you need to get through an audit, for instance, in the case of a bank, you need to see the lineage so you can basically defend the way decisions are made with AI. Now, in that, we provide the most powerful lineage I've seen in the market. When we take a look at this, you have an entire lineage of the supply chain of AI, starting with SAS Intelligent Decisioning and the intelligent agent on the right. From there, we know which models you used in our model governance, which is Model Manager, which provides governance for your models. From there, we actually created those models with Model Studio. That's where we trained models to really identify the champion model that then gets registered in Model Manager. From there, we needed analytical base tables to train those models. Those were registered in SAS Information Catalog. Those tables, analytic base tables, if anyone's a data scientist in the room knows, they don't just magically appear. You have to create those. So we used SAS Studio to build out robust ETL workflows to combine data sets in different contexts and get a data set ready. Those were combined from other data sets that were also registered in SAS Information Catalog. This is amazing to show this type of lineage to help you make some of the most sophisticated decisions in your organization with confidence and trust. We have brought a market-leading approach to the design and integration of agentic AI that enables you to uniquely balance human centricity while ensuring comprehensive governance. Imagine the decision advantage you can deliver to your organization with Viya intelligent agents running on any cloud to solve any business problem. Now, we're all very excited about the future of agentic AI. But what if you need to ask, what if? This has been the promise of digital twins. Now, like agentic AI, many people have different definitions, right? But the question you should be asking is, what is the goal of a digital twin for your business? For SAS, it's about building simulated environments that enable complex systems to be seen, understood, and optimized. And it's about time that digital twins look like the worlds they simulate. And I want to share a short story to motivate this. About 8 years ago, my son came to me and said, "Dad, I found this incredible game called Fortnite." Yes, and as you know, he was not alone. How many people here have kids that play Fortnite? Raise your hand. Yes, most of the room. How many of you actually play Fortnite? Yeah, I see you. I got some V-Bucks for you. Well, did you know that there are over 500 million users with over 44 million daily active players? These numbers are astounding. Now, if you haven't picked up a controller and played a game in a while, today's video games are immersive environments that really promote teamwork and collaboration. They inspire creative problem solving, and they demand decision-making in data-rich environments. And guess what? These are the same qualities that we want in our professional environments too. So I started to think, is there a future we can integrate game engine technology with AI to really make breakthroughs in problem solving? Well, I'm happy to say that SAS is bringing this vision to life. We are so excited to announce that we are partnering with Epic Games to revolutionize the digital twin experience. The combination of Epic's Unreal Engine, there you go. The combination of Epic's Unreal Engine with our world-class AI allows us to simulate real-world environments, generate synthetic data, and deliver unparalleled insights. And we are already pioneering this initiative with Georgia Pacific, a leading global leader in paper manufacturing. And what's even more exciting is both companies are here today to talk about this cutting-edge innovation. Get your cameras out. So with that, please welcome to the stage Bill Clifford, Vice President of Unreal Engine at Epic Games, and Roshan Shah, Vice President of AI at Georgia Pacific. Over there, a little bit more. we go. We got to move that way a little bit.
Sorry.
All right. So first of all, thank you guys for making the time to be here. This is incredible, and I don't think people are ready to see what they're about to see. It's so awesome. So first, Bill, you've seen a lot of things. I want to start with you. Give me a little insight into what you think is so unique about what we're doing together here.
Yeah, sure, Brian. As you mentioned, Unreal Engine, kind of the crown jewel of Epic that powers Fortnite, so many other games in the world that third-party developers make, but a lot of people don't know that it's used across a lot of other industries, whether it's fashion, film, animation, live events. I think some of the graphics here earlier were made in Unreal, automotive, and the list goes on. And one of the most common and really valuable use cases that we see is the use of Unreal Engine to simulate really complex real-world scenarios using a digital twin in the virtual environment. And to do that well, you have to have three things. One, awesome graphics that are super photorealistic.
Check.
Check. Two, advanced physics simulation. And three, you have to be able to render a dynamic environment in real time. And of course, all that needs to be rooted in real-world data. We know rendering, we know real-time 3D. You guys know a little something about managing real-world data. And so obviously bringing our engine together with your analytics platform really, we think, can unlock superpowers for customers like Georgia-Pacific.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned kind of the superpowers because we're about to show that. So, one thing I think we had to do that was really interesting here was we had to build a custom plugin into the Unreal Engine to unlock all the telemetry of the physics and the coordinate systems of all the actors that are happening inside that scene. And then SAS Viya was able to take that data and really run AI simulations to gain insights. So Roshan, when we kind of approached you about this and what we can do, it was kind of around, okay, what problem can we work on here? So you can give us insights into some of these problems we were looking to address.
Sure. There are actually quite a few that we're thinking it has a large potential impact on. The first we're thinking about is where we can use this capability to optimize our autonomous guided vehicles, so our AGVs. The second one, of course.
AGVs, so they're like robots, like forklifts, but robots, right?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
What could go wrong?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And of course, the second one being, how could we use this to make our facilities safer? Both of them have, from a cost to, of course, personal safety and large impacts for us.
All right, so given that risk then, what were the key focus areas that you were thinking about here?
Sure. So when we think about the AGVs, the first one is what we call the routing strategies, right? So this is effectively how do these vehicles navigate around. The problem with navigation is, of course, it's dependent on what's kind of going around, so kind of unforeseen situations, if you will. So we've got to take both of those into account. And then the third, perhaps the more intuitive one is, well, how many AGVs do we really need? So solving those three, that's been a big opportunity for us.
Well, by accounts too, this is a pretty complex problem. Can you give us a sense of the scale of this?
Sure. So if you just think about one facility that we're trialing this at, that facility is about 400 meters long, or 4 football fields.
That's a long way to the bathroom, right?
Fortunately, AGVs don't have to do that.
That's right. So, all right, well, let me then go over a quick overview of how we've kind of processed data. So first, we use SAS Viya to analyze the current pathing and scheduling of the entire AGV fleet. By the way, that is not trivial in itself. Second, we optimize the combinations of routes and schedules with different constraints based on the missions we want the AGVs to achieve. And then third, we identified a set of potential solutions. And this is the crux of this. But none of those solutions have actually been tested in the real world. And Bill, that's where the game engine really comes in.
Yeah, Brian, so now we can capture all the complexities of the Savannah River Mill in Unreal Engine by creating a digital twin. So instead of having to go out into the real world and build all these potential solutions, we can recreate them in the virtual world through a simulation, and we can design and test and validate and iterate, all using a digital twin. So let's show everyone what we've been working on together. So you can see here, this is the Savannah Mill, rendered beautifully in Unreal Engine, running at a crisp 60 frames per second. The team actually used our photogrammetry software, Reality Capture, to scan the facility and all the objects in this facility to bring them to life in true-to-life form. You can see the scene is super dynamic. The lighting is dynamic. It's reflecting off of surfaces accurately. Shadows are casting accurately. And the team on the back end can use a factory editor to orchestrate simulations.
Yeah, and this is kind of what we have on the screen here, right? So if you notice, those vehicles are moving along. what we need to figure out is, okay, well, do we have them at the right places? Do we need to introduce some new ones? And imagine if you are running the operation, to be able to do that in real time in a graphical manner, that's extraordinarily powerful to be able to manage that, right? You can kind of switch back and forth between this and kind of figuring out what else is the complexity around it, right? And so being able to do that efficiently, that's the big opportunity for, of course. Now, as you go through this, right, the most intuitive problem statement is, okay, well, what happens when you've got too many vehicles, or what happens when you're bunching up, right? So for us to be able to add a new vehicle, kind of just doing point and click, that becomes very powerful. And we can do that, we can even insert them kind of in the middle of the route. Well, the problem may be, and it's not very intuitive, is, you know, it's a bit like driving around at 4 o'clock in Atlanta. You got too much vehicle and you kind of start getting too much traffic, as is kind of evidenced in that video. So then we start thinking about, okay, well, what's the right number of vehicle? Where do we introduce them, and what do we have them do? Well, you have two options. Either you can go and test it all out, or you could simulate that. So in this environment, you know, the capability we built with SAS here, right, is we can go and just say, okay, well, here is my situation. Here's the different vehicles I have. What is the optimal thing I need to do? And we can go and click on and evaluate, and it will, as we're doing here, and it will go figure out how many vehicles there are, what do we need to do, and it actually comes back and says, you know, you need to reduce your vehicles from 50 to 47. And if you did that, you actually reduce your mean time for it to run, or average, by 8%. And that, you know, that translates to real dollars.
So I think, you know, Roshan, I want to take a moment for a second, because this is insane, right? So the work the three of our companies have done together here and the pace of innovation is really amazing. And personally, I believe this is the future of manufacturing. So with that, though, I do want to shift to another use case that this technology can be applied to, which is improving employee safety. You may not know this, but according to the US labor statistics, a person dies every 90 minutes from a workplace injury across all of manufacturing. And today, existing computer vision models are only improving at the rate of workplace injuries. To build better models and prevent injuries, we need accurate synthetic data and simulated video feeds to really improve these models. So Bill, give us some insight to what we're doing about that.
Sure, so now you can see we've integrated digital humans into the scene, and we're simulating what-if scenarios. In Unreal, you can set up dynamic cameras that actually can be configured with settings that replicate real-life sensors that might alert you to trouble or safety issues as they happen. And then you can actually extract the data from the cameras as synthetic data that can train the computer vision models. Roshan, you want to talk about how you're leveraging that?
Sure. That's actually, you know, it's obviously turned a little bit the video game, but that's quite important for us because we can simulate what might happen in real world and be able to figure out, can we collect different data points, you know, change the shape and size and what people are doing, lighting conditions, and be able to generate that data without putting somebody at risk. And for us, that's actually huge because that helps us, you know, ultimately avoid injuries.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned synthetic data because this digital twin scenario here is also another element of our overall synthetic data strategy. And I also want to take a moment to recognize the ability to use this gaming engine allows us to make sure that data that's trained in models is more representative, not only to people, but different scenes. And that's important when we talk about, again, discrimination because models have not been trained with the proper representation. So really excited and proud of a solution that happens with this. So, Bill, you know, you see a lot of opportunities besides just obviously, you know, what we're doing here in manufacturing. Can you share that as well?
Yeah, sure. I mean, this is not an uncommon problem, right? We're seeing massive opportunities in automotive with autonomous driving, robotics, aerospace, and the list goes on. Anywhere where there's embodied AI, we think there's a role for us to play, and we're really excited to explore those opportunities and continue to innovate with SAS, and we're really proud to be a part of the initiative with Georgia Pacific.
Thanks for the opportunity. We're just kind of glad to know how many AGVs we need.
47. You need 47.
Yeah, that's right. But I mean, honestly, it's been a pretty great partnership. You know, we get a lot of perspective from a lot of different folks, and there's a lot of, to be candid, fake it till you make it. But in this case, it's been a genuine, honest partnership in terms of what can we do, and it's been a very honest and a fruitful discussion.
Well, I want to thank you both for being here. This is an incredible achievement, and I'm so excited to the continued innovations we're going to do together on this. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Round of
Thanks,
applause.
Brian.
Guys. Thank you. I mean, is that cool or what? All right, so now manufacturing is just one industry that we see we can make a significant impact with digital twins. For example, though, in healthcare, we're already seeing this. Digital twins can revolutionize how hospital operations are running with simulating patient flows, optimizing staff scheduling, and predicting equipment maintenance needs. Also in financial services, digital twins can improve risk management by simulating the supply chains and testing geopolitical risks. I don't know, maybe seeing what the impacts from tariffs are. That might be helpful right now. And now overall, determining the impact of financial performance. But imagine the decision advantage you can create for your organization with an immersive digital twin that allows you to get accurate answers for your most complex what-if questions. All right, you can learn more during the Spotlight stage at 2:50 today in the Innovation Hub. So we've talked a lot about optimization this morning, and by the way, the reality is that some of these are the most computationally intense and complex problems to solve in the world. Now, to overcome this, SAS R&D has been innovating with quantum AI. We are combining quantum computing with traditional AI to process large, complicated data sets and take those times down from months down to minutes. Let's take a look at how we're doing this with Procter Gamble, a leading consumer goods company. Please welcome to the stage Krista Comstock, Director of Digital Innovation at Procter Gamble. Krista, it is so great to see you. How are you doing?
Doing great, thank you.
I'm going to get in my right spot here.
Exactly.
All right, so first of all, our partnership goes way back. I mean, there's some great history here, and we're really proud of this. So just to give you context, our partnership goes back to 1980. So we've been doing business together for 45 years. I mean, that's amazing, right? So, and I want to call out some key milestones in this. In the early 2000s is when we started to work on the optimization problems with you all. And then recently, in 22, we actually migrated P&G to SAS Viya to modernize all of your AI capabilities. And I feel like all of this is that work together, the trust we've built together, has set us up to explore quantum computing at this very moment. Can you talk about that?
Sure. So while I was not at P&G when we started in the 80s,
Yeah.
I absolutely remember when I started in the late 90s hearing about our collaborations with SAS, and then more specifically, as you said, in the early 2000s when we started doing the cost and performance optimization work, I actually was responsible for some of the data systems that were coming into that work, and so hearing about that then. And that has really paid off for us. And I think, as you said, that really did set us up now to be looking at quantum together because it gave us the foundation to know that SAS understood the kind of problems that we were interested in at P&G and gave us the confidence that we could make some good progress and have some insights from this work.
I think it's a great way of saying that, like, if the two organizations, if they know each other well, you can really be very focused on the type of problem you want to solve with a high propensity to get an ROI. So with that, we really wanted to make sure we worked with you all on optimization because we knew this is where quantum could start to shine. So can you give us some insight into some of the problems we were looking at here, the problem we selected, I should say?
Absolutely. One of the things is I've worked across several of the modeling disciplines at P&G is our problems are never easy.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things where, and I sometimes think that, software vendors as yourselves are probably a little bit like, oh no, what are they going to be asking us now?
No, that's our moment. That's our moment to shine.
And so one of those pieces about our problems is there's typically something about the scale that is unique and different from others, in other industries that you might be working with. So in this case, we manufacture a lot of different product variants on a few production lines with rules that regard what can and cannot mix or be used on the same equipment. To make this real for those in the audience is go down one of the aisles at your local grocery store and look at all the variations of just a Pantene shampoo, but there's a lot of different variations, or Tide laundry detergent, similarly a lot of variants there. And so what we wanted to look at was what is the optimal assignment of those products in these few number of tanks to really ensure that certain products never mix. The scale here is immense, and so therefore we thought it could be a good fit for quantum.
Well, Krista, before you go further into this, I do want to take a moment here to share a cooking analogy to help us all follow along, because quantum's pretty complicated, and I think this will help us all participate in this process. So, imagine you have a 5-burner stove with only 5 pots and pans to use. You need to make 10 dishes using dozens of ingredients, and you have to reuse some of these pots without cleaning them. Now, for those of you in the South, this means you're going to get some beans in your rice, right? But my sons are allergic, and for those with food allergies, we have to be careful about cross-contamination. So now let's translate this into the business problem with P&G. At P&G, you have a handful of mixing tanks with hundreds of products and ingredients, and the scale of this problem is shocking.
Absolutely.
I'll wait to reveal this.
So, and I am so disappointed I didn't come up with the analogy because I like analogies. But it's one of those things where, so we're looking at 100+ products in 5 tanks. So when you start to think about the scale of that, as you reveal it, we're talking about the 10 to the 114th power, which is not small considering it's larger than the number of atoms in the universe.
That's also pretty much what's on my honey-do list right now, I'm pretty sure my wife would say.
Yeah, so we need to get you out of there to go work on it. Exactly. So using traditional solvers, the compute time and resources needed really grows exponentially with that problem side, which led us to the quantum approach.
So that is a massive number of combinations that really most of us can't even comprehend, first of all. But as we conducted research together, can you describe to the audience kind of the approaches and associated results? Because this is really where we really see how unique this strategy is and how the impact it can make.
So we looked at it in the end 3 different ways. The first way is using traditional solvers and using the traditional capabilities within SAS Viya. And in this case, the quality is there. The feasibility of the result is there, but speed, it took about 6 hours to get to the optimal.
I don't want to say too, our solvers are pretty awesome too. We did some good analysis on that, just even the traditional ones alone. But 6 hours is a long time still.
It is quite a long time. And so therefore, looking at quantum, starting with a smaller problem, it's one of those things where you could really see that benefit. But even as we started getting up into the scale, this started to struggle a bit. Results in 2 minutes, great. But in terms of the results, it's one of those things where we're starting to see some suboptimal results. And so that led us to the third, to really see how could we bring this together, which is hybrid. So in that case, starting with the quantum, basically getting to that close but suboptimal.
A subset of solutions.
Exactly.
That leads into the traditional.
Exactly. Yeah. And then using the more traditional solver to really get to that global optimal. And in this case, was able to get results in 12 minutes. So we went from 6 hours to 12 minutes, 97% reduction in time.
That's amazing. And by the way, there are a lot of people that say quantum is 10 years from now. No, quantum's right here, right now, and we're doing it. And I really am excited about what we can do. I'm excited for what you all might come to us and say, how can we use quantum to help solve your problems? So now, talk to us about what are some key takeaways from the results on this?
The first ones are pretty obvious. It's about productivity and performance. Hybrid can really give us the best of both worlds in terms of giving us the speed and as well as the quality of solution all in one. The second is really the accelerated learning. As you can go through this more quickly, you start to really be able to get insights quickly, as well as rethinking, it caused us to rethink a little bit of the problem formulations and, explore some new ways to transforming the data.
And I think when we talked about this, problem selection is key, right? Yep. Navigating quantum is understanding, are you going to get the, how do you know which problem will give you the ROI in complexity? That's important. So now moving forward, I know you all see some more opportunities with quantum. What are you thinking about there?
It's one of those things where, and some of this kind of goes back to the previous topic, even in that digital twin space. Where is it that we could really use both the accuracy and the efficiency in more real-time simulation? And for us, we could see that perhaps in looking at our production schedules and resource allocation, improving overall supply chain resiliency and efficiency. One of the things about P&G is that our demand can really change very dramatically, daily, depending on what's going on with the retail customers or what's happening in social media, a TikTok trend or something like that.
Oh yeah.
And so, how can we respond to that in, near real time, can really drive, both innovation as well as efficiency across our manufacturing operations.
Well, first of all, again, want to congratulate both the P&G and the SAS teams for making this incredible breakthrough with quantum. That's amazing. A little round of applause, please, on that. And I want to thank you for your continued partnership, and I'm looking forward to another 45 years of partnership with P&G and really the continued innovation work both organizations are going to do. Thank you so much, Krista.
Absolutely.
A great one.
Thanks, Brian.
All right. As you explore SAS Innovate, I want you to keep a few things in mind throughout the week. First, for Agentic AI, SAS Viya empowers you to create intelligent agents that automate any business problem on any cloud with unparalleled governance. For digital twins, SAS Viya's integration with Epic Unreal Engine empowers you to achieve game-changing improvements in your business operations. And for quantum AI, SAS Viya empowers you with hybrid architectures to solve what was previously unsolvable. All of this innovation is powered by our comprehensive portfolio. Whether you are a builder of AI or a buyer of AI, SAS delivers outcomes that outperform, giving you a decision advantage.